DeRozan trying to go top shelf. Eubanks says, finish it and send me to the line.
Go ahead and flex, Drew. It's okay. Pump that chest out.
Leave it to Beaver.
You see how he's walking toward half court? DeMar misses, and Drew said, here, let me show you how it's done.
Oh, and I love the stare.
Oh, Drew.
I'm not here.
This is At The Line. I'm Ty Yeager, and joining me today is going to be Nick Yarbrough and Mac Pena. But we have a very special guest. Drew Eubanks, Spurs forward, is joining us at The Line today. And man, this has been an interview we've been excited to do, and now we finally get to show you guys. But this is a great episode. He talks a lot about his experience in the NBA and the G League, along with his pre-draft process, and a lot of stuff that you wouldn't expect NBA players to be doing off the court as well. So, man, if you guys are going to enjoy it as much as we did, but this is a great listen, and we are excited to give you a talk with Drew Eubanks. So I am happy to introduce that we have San Antonio Spurs forward, number 14, Drew Eubanks, with us today on At The Line. Drew, how are you doing this evening that we are recording on?
I'm great. I'm good. I just got back from the gym, just shooting and trying to get ready for next season.
So let's actually talk about that. So you're coming off your third season in the league, your first season off of a fully guaranteed contract. How has the experience been so far 3 years into the NBA?
It's been good, man. I've gotten great experience, especially this last year. Is really, if you think about it, like my first year of actually playing and being like with the team consistently throughout the year. I know it was a shortened season, but not by much. And it just felt great to be out there and really just like play with the guys and not have to worry about, am I going to be in San Antonio next week? Am I going to be in Austin the week after that? And all I try to do is just get better every year. And I felt like last year was it had its moments where I struggled a little bit, and then I had some good moments where I was playing really well. And I think I established myself and was able to really get a foothold down and understand how to win games and how to succeed.
So go on that message of what have you learned so far, compared to your time with Austin as a two-way contract and then to the fully guaranteed. What has been like some of the significant differences for you so far?
Generally just the speed of the game. Like in the G League, I was able to pretty much not do what I wanted to, but get away with a lot of things that you're not necessarily able to get away with just because of how good the players are in the NBA. It's mainly just the speed of the game and mistakes. If you make a couple mistakes here and there in Austin, sometimes it's not a big deal. They're usually easy to overcome, but it's you damn near have to be perfect sometimes to win games in the NBA. And attention to detail is probably the biggest thing that I've been working on, and I need to continue to work on as I develop as a player.
And what are some of the other things that you're working on? So this offseason specifically.
This offseason, whether you like it or not, I've been working like shooting. I think we had a back-to-back in Utah towards the end of the season, and that's where I got like the green light from the coaches. Shoot corner threes. Like if you're open, shoot it. And I think I did end up hitting one in Utah, and I just don't like. I don't like to force the issue, so I only would really shoot if I was open. Mm-hmm. But this offseason, I've worked with Chip. Before he left for Team USA stuff, Chip and I were working for like 3-4 weeks straight, kind of not revamping my mechanics, but just tweaking a few things, because he was saying, Drew, you have a great shot as it is. My consistency was just a little bit off because I had a flatter shot. Like I had a super straight shot, but it was just really flat at times. And so we worked on my mechanics and kind of changed a few things. To me, it feels like a whole different shot, but it really isn't when you look at it on video. But I've been able to just get more arc on it and be way more consistent, especially from three. And so that's been my main thing, is just being able to knock down a catch and shoot three. And honestly, when I step in the gym, things have changed a little bit in the past few days with Doug McDermott and Brent Forbes and that. But before that, when I stepped in the gym, I felt like I was the best shooter in there. And that may sound how it sounds to people, but it's just how it is. I mean,
man, bro.
Ty, you know I shot 100% for a reason, right?
Yeah, minimum 2 attempts, bro. You're the highest percentage shooter in the league, dude.
Best shooter better than Steph Curry.
Don't ever drop that either. Like, don't let them forget that. Seriously, man.
Yeah, I know. But no, I know people like to talk themselves up, but like that's just been my main thing I've been working on, and I've always been able to shoot. I just never liked to force the issue, and it just wasn't my place to shoot and take shots away from, DeMar, LA, Rudy, guys like that. But, we have a completely different team this year. There's going to be a lot more opportunities coming up this next year for guys to step up and expand their games. And, I just try to get better every single year. I've done that since I've started playing basketball and since I was a freshman in high school. And so I don't see why I can't continue to get better and work on my game.
So speaking of your shot, I do got to ask, because you are the king of the hook shot.
Mm-hmm.
How did that become it? How did it become that you were just amazing at the hook shot?
So when I first started playing basketball my freshman year, I was like really bad. Like I had never watched basketball before. I had never really touched a basketball before unless it was PE and we were doing basketball that day. And so I didn't know the rules. I didn't know anything, but I was 6'5". I was the tallest kid in my high school. And so I started playing basketball. And I was kind of athletic for only being a baseball player. And I kept getting more and more athletic as I kept playing basketball. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I first started playing, I looked like a baby giraffe, running around. I was so clumsy.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I showed up to my first open gym wearing a pair of high top Air Force Ones that were bright red, and they were size 15. I didn't even own a pair of basketball shoes. I didn't know shit. And so my coach in high school, and I'm never going to forget this, because somehow, some way, he saw something in me that nobody else would have been able to see. And he was just like, Drew, you're going to be great. You're going to be a great player. I can see it. You have all the tools. He's like, if you just master this hook shot, I'm telling you, with your size, length, all this, nobody's going to be able to stop it. People just don't shoot it anymore because it's not the flashy thing to do. But if you get this down, you're going to be able to go D1, and who knows, you could even go to the NBA. And so I kind of took that with a grain of salt. I was like, okay, he could just be blowing smoke on my ass just to get me to play, but I'll give it a shot. So he wanted me to shoot 100 hook shots a day, left hand, right hand, just all over the place, running hooks, this and that, just play around with it, get comfortable. And so that's what I did for a while. I just shot when I would go and shoot on my own, I would just shoot 100 hook shots a day. And then I kept shooting it. I kept getting better. It kept being my go-to, high school, a lot of times, especially in Oregon, there's nobody over 6'2" that's a center. And I was 6'10" as a senior, so I was able to get that shit off easy. And so I just kept doing it. And then as I got to college, shit, it kept working. And then I started implementing the running hook, and people just couldn't guard it. And I started using a heavy ball. They make these Spalding heavy balls. They're 3 pounds or whatever. But then I started using that, and then after using that, I was able to expand out to there was a point in college where I was able to shoot a running hook 3 and consistently make it in practice, but not that was on my own, but not in an actual practice with somebody guarding me. But I got it dialed down that much, and so it's just always been one of those things that it's worked for me. So why would I stop? I rarely get it blocked, unless some guy's a freak athlete or I bring it out in front of him. But it's still I feel every big man who should everybody needs to shoot nowadays, quote unquote. But it's a great move, and it's really hard to stop.
So speaking of, I don't know. Are you a big anime fan, or have you ever heard of One Punch Man?
I think I've heard. Isn't that the bald guy?
Yeah, exactly. So like
I've only really watched like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super or whatever. I started watching that on the road a little bit this year, but I think I've only seen clips of like One Punch Man on like Instagram or something.
Well, like what you mentioned about in regards to training, like the fact that you're running like 100 drills here and there, like that's exactly what One Punch Man Saitama says. So it was like when you said that, I was like, oh, this guy's Drew Eubanks is basically Saitama because you have to do 100 drills every single time here and there. So my question was more in regards to like, we know that you play COD. You know, we've even seen the timeline. So what would be your like go-to build for Warzone?
Right now, they've nerfed a lot of guns. You know, Activision is
Hell yeah.
they're losing a lot of fans right now, but that's a whole other story. But the game's kind of weird the way that they nerf guns and they nerf stuff. But right now, I'm running the Growl because I like that. I think it got like a buff a week ago or so. So it's been really good for me. And then my secondary, I really like the AK-74U.
Okay.
Nice. Off meta, dude.
Off meta. Yeah, I like to veer off from meta. I don't like to be with running everything that everybody else is running, but that, and then I have the heartbeat sensor, Semtex, and I think I do like EOD, Ghost after I get the AK-74. I usually only run Ghost, and then if I can't get a second loadout, I still have Ghost in my AK-74. And then I forgot. I think what's the one that makes you switch fast for the first
Amped. Yeah.
Amped. Yeah, that's what it is.
Sick.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this is like we're gonna bounce around a little bit here from like Call of Duty to like real questions. That's a real question, but like,
Yeah.
so this one is like, this one I guess like I've been noticing a lot recently. This isn't even about you. This is just kind of like a player's perspective that I'd like some info on.
Yeah.
How do y'all handle like if you or a teammate say had a bad night? How do y'all handle the load that comes along with social media, like kind of the influx of like bad tweets or whatever, you know, kind of stuff thrown at your way. Like even, you know, most people kind of hide it by like not really saying the player's name, but some people just straight up at players, you know? So do y'all just like shoulder it? Do y'all just avoid it altogether? Do you try to stay out of it? Or how do y'all just handle stuff like that? Because there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, I'm sure.
Yeah, there is. You know, I think every guy deals with it a different way. Some guys may like. Personally, I would never know unless somebody said something about it. There's been a couple of times but it's been particularly bad, and I can think about sometimes during this past year where it's been particularly bad for some people. But you never really know what's going on. Like guys are pretty like keep stuff close to the chest. I mean, I can only speak for me. Yeah, that's a tough question because like obviously. I don't know what it is. I don't know if people, when they tweet stuff, they think that the players or people just aren't going to see it or what they're saying, or they're just saying stuff out into the void. But it's just, I just can't really wrap my head around like, and I've never seen women do this, but it's like grown ass men who just tweet, who like legit have like day jobs and kids and like wives and stuff, and their idea of fun or whatever is to go online and to just like bash, you know, I'm 24 years old, guy. There's other guys on the team who are 18, 19. I mean, we saw the other day what happened. Yeah. Guys are just bashing like an 18-year-old who hasn't done anything.
Oh God, you're telling me.
So like, it's just so weird. Like people, all I can really say is it's probably just like immaturity and through these like adults who usually like will hide behind, you know, Spurs fan 54 or, you know, Keldon Johnson's burner account or whatever they're at. You know, like,
That's great.
Who just say, who these keyboard warriors who like don't have anything else going for them. So I try to ignore it, but you know it is tough because you know nobody likes to hear or see anything bad being said about them, and it's not like we're trying to play bad. You know, it's not like everybody has an off game or whatever. Like, we're all human. This is my job. Like, I don't tweet about what so-and-so does in his cubicle where he missed the deadline for the report. You know, so I know what comes with having this platform. It's what comes with, you know, being a professional NBA player. It sucks. You got to deal with it. But then again, these people aren't, you know, these people, 99% of the people who tweet stuff will never come out of their shadows and say something if they see you at HEB or whatever it may be on the street.
Yeah, 100%. And like, that question just came kind of from seeing it recently. I mean, you know, like maybe the pick isn't like what everyone thought it would be, but we're all pretty excited about it at this point.
Yeah.
But generally, I mean, and I'm guilty of it. Like, I'm 23. I'm still kind of learning the maturity aspect of life, and how to react to stuff better and how to contain my emotions on Twitter. But you're right. No, we see people who are 30s, 40s going on there behind Becky Hammond burner 27, and it's like just absolutely dumping on players. And us younger guys are a little, we may take part in it every now and then, probably not to the severity of others, but just sleep well knowing that some of us are out there at least trying to stick up for y'all a little bit. But great answer, great insight, because we don't get insight to that. No one ever really talks about it,
Yeah. No, and like it's crazy too, because like especially recently with I'm excited with all the people that we've signed and stuff, and
for sure
I'm looking forward to this next year because it's a completely different new team. And I told Ty this is like I haven't been following NBA free agency enough besides these past 3 years to know how the Spurs have been in free agency and stuff, but this is new. They haven't signed and traded and done this much stuff in the past 72 to 48 hours in the past like decade, have they?
Yeah, no. This is like new to everybody.
Yeah. So I'm excited with all the people coming in, and we have they're going to be really competitive practices and really competitive for playing time. I've been talking to my fiance about this recently. Like, it's just crazy because like people just tweet these things and you see it and you try to avoid it, but it's still there and it's still like just negative stuff like that you're just talking about. Like, people have like NBA players, like they have families, they have people who see this stuff that think maybe it's verbatim, like they just don't know. Like, they're like, oh, is he really? He's really getting cut? Like, he's really he's not anymore? I'm like, bro, like, no, like that doesn't make any sense. Like, you're not an expert. You don't know what's going on behind. Nobody knows what's going on.
We've gotten some
front office people.
We've gotten some insight with the family thing too, a lot the past couple seasons, because I don't know if you've noticed, but Derek White's dad is extremely active on Twitter, and he's kind of a big part of our community now. But he gets out there. He kind of is a living example of what you're talking about. He gets out there in the trenches a little bit for Derek, and it's awesome to see, honestly.
Yeah. Well, shit, I didn't know that. I got to look out for that. Yeah, it's just crazy that, like, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but, like, just because you watch First Take at 9 a.m. on every weekday doesn't make you, like, a basketball expert. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to, like, if you listen to Stephen A. No, not even Stephen A. If you listen to Max Kellerman, you don't really need to have, like, an opinion. You don't really know what's going on. Then just, like, it's frustrating, but it is what it is, and you got to power through it. But that's how we live in today's age. And
going to more of a positive route, what are some of the positives from the Spurs fan base? Because you tend to be a fan favorite among people just because you are a guy that came from a two-way contract, undrafted, to having a full deal, and also you just make the effort plays. It just what's been the positive aspect from the fan base that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, like, for every negative thing I see about me, there's at least 20 to 30, like, we're excited for you next year. Like, can't wait to see you play. Like, you always bring the toughness. You always bring physicality. We love that. We love watching you play.
Yes, Antonio loves their big guys.
I go to HEB. I went to HEB last night, and then when I got back, or while I was there was a guy. He's like, "Oh, what's up, Drew the Tower?" And it just people coming out and saying stuff. And then when I got home, I was on Instagram, and I had like 3 or 4 messages being like, "Hey, got too nervous, didn't want to say anything, but excited to see you play next year. Really love you. Glad you're in San Antonio." Like, there's just a lot of like great Spurs fans, and and they've been great fans for a long time, and that's what really like makes me feel good. And I've been before I hadn't really like responded to people on social media, even like people who were like saying, "Oh, what's up? Like, great job. Hoping to see you next year." But like, there's a lot of negativity going on right now, and I just kind of was like thinking, I'm like, you know what, I need to like reward this, and I need to like message these people back and like be like, "Hey, like, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Like, you know how much it means to me." So just trying to spread positivity and just get in the right mindset,
That's
Because
awesome.
the Spurs fans are great. They're unbelievable. They went through a lot this past. Everybody's been through a lot these past 2 years, but to see the way that they showed out when we were able to have fans again was awesome.
So let's kind of rewind and go back to your beginnings because like you said, you got into basketball late because you were a baseball player before you played basketball.
Yeah, I hated running, so I didn't want to play basketball.
And so why was baseball kind of your sport before that?
Well, I was like extremely skinny as a kid, so because I didn't really eat as often as I should. Like, I was really picky, so if I didn't like something, I just wouldn't eat. And so I couldn't really play football because I probably would have got hurt playing football. And then baseball was the only other sport that my dad really knew anything. He knew football and baseball, and that was pretty much it. And so I just played baseball as young as you could and kept playing. I was really good, and I don't know. I just kept playing baseball, and that's pretty much how it started. And the only reason I started playing basketball was because I was at McDonald's one day, my freshman year, and some guys walked in, and they were on the basketball team, and they're like, "Yo, what's your name? Like, what high school do you go to?" And I'm like, "I go to Reynolds, like right down the street." And they're like, "Are you on the basketball team? Like, are you going to try out this year?" I'm like, "No, I don't play basketball, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't make the team because I just don't know anything about basketball." And he's like, "No, Drew, you're the tallest kid in our school. You're 6'5". There's no way you're not making the basketball team. And I'm like, all right. So I go home. I talk to my dad. I'm like, do you think I should play basketball? I kind of want to do something else. And, these guys think I'm going to make the team and stuff. And my dad's like, yeah, I mean, might as well. Like, you could play, see if you like it. If at the end of the day, if you don't like it, running up and down the court will just get your legs stronger for baseball, for pitching. And so that's the reason I started playing baseball or basketball, was just to get my legs stronger for pitching. And then the more I caught on, the more I learned, the more I enjoyed it. I just kept falling in love with it.
You eventually went to Oregon State, and
Yep.
how many years was that again? I just can't think of the top of my head.
3 years.
So you go 3 years, and then you entered the draft. And just since we just went through the whole draft process this off season, what was it in the aspect of being a player going into the draft?
It was a little bit nerve-wracking doing the pre-draft workouts, but like with teams and stuff. But when I left Oregon State, I was really sure that that's what I wanted to do. I had a lot of interest my first year at Oregon State. Honestly, kind of doing the same thing that I'm doing now, just being like a rim runner, athletic, dunking the ball, setting screen. Like, I didn't really get as many post-ups my freshman year because we had other like seniors and stuff who got shots first. But so I started out having some like real interest out of the gate at Oregon State my first year, where I was looking at, like, I know you can take mock drafts for a grain of salt. Some of them had me going like 38th. And this was before you could enter the draft and pull your name out. So if I wanted to get drafted or anything, I couldn't really test the waters and work out for teams and whatnot. So that was when I first had interest, and then kept getting better. And then after my junior year, I was pretty set on leaving because I felt like I had done everything that I could at Oregon State, and I didn't necessarily think that me going back for another year was going to help my development the way that an NBA season would. And I felt like I had a chance, and I felt like if I just got my foot in the door and worked out in front of these teams, that they could really see like the whole side of me. And so that was my mindset leaving Oregon State after my third year. And so when I finally did start working out for teams, San Antonio was my first workout. And I kid you not, we're working out and we're playing like 3-on-3 or something. And 5 minutes into us playing 3-on-3, I forgot who I was going up against. The other big there, I go up for a rebound. He like comes down, swipes down on my hand trying to get the ball, and like pulls my thumb down, and I tear a ligament in my thumb.
Oh shit!
And like 5 minutes into the workout, and I didn't think anything of it because like my adrenaline was going, but I just knew it hurt, so I just thought I jammed my finger.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going on the rest of the workout. Like 30 minutes go by, and I'm still playing, and I'm like, damn, my thumb fucking hurts. Like, what the hell? Like, but I just think I jammed it, so I'm not thinking anything of it. So I go on for another 30 minutes. We work out. We finally get a break, and I have the ball in my hand, and I'm looking down and like I'm like squeezing the ball with my hand, with both hands, and I'm looking down. I'm like, damn, this ball feels like it like doesn't have any air in it, and it's like it just feels like I'm able to like squeeze it. And I look down, and my left hand on my thumb is like going out to the side. Because there's like a ligament that's not there that's like supposed to hold it up, and like my thumb is going a weird way, and I'm like, oh shit. And so I go over to the trainer. I'm like, hey, I think something's wrong with my hand, and I like move my thumb down with my other hand, and he's like, yeah, there's something wrong. And so we go across the street. So I have to end the workout. I go across the street to the hospital. I get MRIs and stuff, and the doctor comes back, and he's like, yeah, you actually tore this ligament in your hand. You're going to need surgery. And I'm like, there's no fucking way that I can get surgery right now. Like, I just left college. Like, I just hired an agent. Like, I have like 11 more workouts I need to go do, and this is my first one. There's no way. Like, I can't have surgery. And so it's funny too. I just remember this too. So I'm in there. It was the very first workout that San Antonio had, and I was there. And Manu walks in, and I'm like, just talked to the doctor, and I'm so pissed. Like, I'm like contemplating my whole life. Yeah. And Manu walks in. He's like, "Oh, hey guys, how you doing?" He's meeting everybody, and like, not to sound any certain way, but like at the moment, like I just like didn't care. I was like, can't even enjoy like meeting fucking Manu Ginobili because I'm just so in my head about what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. And so I end up going back to LA where I was working out and where I was staying, and I got a second opinion, and I got another MRI from another doctor, and he had said that I had actually partially torn it. So it was like 3/4 of the way torn. He's like, you can still play, but you're going to need to wear like a brace on your hand for a while. So I ended up wearing a brace on my hand. Next 2 workouts went like shit because I had this big brace on my hand. But, I mean, at least I was able to still go work out. And then I kept doing rehab and stuff. And by, like, my 4th or 5th workout, I was able to, like, and this is, like, 2 weeks later maybe, 3 weeks. Like, and I was just constantly doing treatment. I was able to just, like, tape up my hand and play. And the rest of the way, for, like, my last 6 workouts, I was able to have great workouts. And I ended up going back to San Antonio because in that 30 minutes that I was playing with a torn ligament in my thumb, I was actually like killing the guy I was going up against. I was doing really well. And so they wanted me back for a second workout. And during that one, I did great too. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history from there. But it's definitely a process. Like my agent did a great job of timing out the workouts where I did all my West Coast trips first. And then my last 6, they were all East Coast. So it was like work out one day, fly the next, work out with another team, fly the next. But it was a grind. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's tough. Like, you go in for physicals every single workout. It's an all day thing. It's playing against guys you never played against, also playing with guys you never played against. So a lot of your results are sort of based off of these people you're just meeting for the first time and playing with and have no chemistry with. So there's a lot that goes into it, for sure.
And then you go undrafted, and I don't know how it would ever feel, but what was going through your mind whenever your name just didn't get called on draft night?
I was a little bummed out. When I had left college, I wasn't even like getting drafted wasn't even like kind of in my mind. Like, yeah, it was a goal. Like, I wanted to get drafted, but my main goal coming out was getting a two-way. I felt like getting a two-way was very obtainable for me. And if I had to spend a year in the G League, if I had to do whatever, I knew if I just played, I knew I was better than a lot of guys that were saying that they were better than me and this and that just based off of what they did in college, because college sometimes it doesn't really equate to much. But that was my goal, was getting a two-way. And so I go undrafted, but since I had really good workouts for the Spurs and they liked me, they're like, hey, you can come in for we want to have you on our summer league team. And so I'm getting ready for that. And we have our first summer league practice, and I'm like all over the place, bro. Like, I'm blocking shots, running for lobs, running the floor, being physical, doing a lot of the same shit I'm doing now. And after the first practice, they were like, okay, we want to offer you an Exhibit 10. Like, we want you to come to training camp. And so after that, play summer league. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. There's still like open gyms and stuff in September and everything. And I come back for those open gyms and I play really well too. Jakob's there, playing against him. And it was funny. We had like, who were some other guys for open gym my first year? Like Mario Chalmers was there. There were a bunch of like Nick Johnson. There were a bunch of like guys. I didn't really understand how open gyms worked, but they were just a bunch of guys that came in just to play, who were like in town for whatever reason. And so I ended up playing really well there. And based off my performance in summer league and how I was doing in open gyms against like NBA guys, they offered me the 2-year two-way, and I got my goal. That's what I set out for. I did think I was going to get drafted after having really good workouts for teams. But at the end of the day, that wasn't necessarily my goal. My goal was just to get a foot in the door and then, keep moving up from there, keep getting better.
And then 2 years later, you go into free agency after 2 years on the two-way deal, and you get a full contract. Just how was that feeling last offseason?
It was great, man. Like, it was just it just felt like rewarding for the 2 years that I was on the two-way. I think the two-way was good for me in a lot of ways, and it kept me wanting to take that next step, get the contract, do this, do that, and it was very rewarding to see that all the hard work I had put in over the past 2 years, going back and forth from Austin. It's really, being a two-way is not easy, and even being a G League player is not easy. Like, it's the Southwest flights at 5:30 in the morning. It's, hey, we need you. Never mind, you're in Sioux Falls right now. We know you just got there at 11, but we actually need you here tomorrow for the game. So you fly out to Boston from Sioux Falls, and then you're making connections all over the place. But it just was, at the end of the day, it was just really rewarding to be able to get that and to really feel like I was, I had always felt like I was a part of the team, but then it really like solidified, like, okay, like I'm here, like I'm an NBA player now, even though I was, but in my head, that's just how I thought about it.
Yeah, so I heard you mention, just kind of like, I heard you slip in the term kind of like basketball culture and stuff. Just like coming from baseball, how different is basketball culture than baseball culture? Because I'm not someone who's too ingrained in the baseball scene or whatever. I'm like a casual Rangers fan. How much different is it?
It's extremely different. it's hard to describe, but like I feel like basketball culture is a lot more like together. Like it's a lot more team oriented. I know like playing in high school baseball, like there's you kind of got to be a dick to play like and have like thick skin to play baseball because like that's just I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like kind of the culture, like kind of like there's a lot of cockiness in baseball, with at least from what I experienced.
Absolutely.
And so I kind of I can't not cocky, but like I'm a big bullshitter, and like I like mess with people kind of to the point to where they're like getting sick and tired of me. And that's kind of how like baseball is. Like you kind of like just kick people when they're down, and they're still your teammates. And you're still playing together, but it's kind of like you have to have really thick skin to play baseball. At least from what my high school and middle school experience, but it's a lot different. But I tend to side more with basketball culture, but I mix in a little bullshit here and there.
Yeah, especially with your bench mob antics, dude. You run the best bench mob in the league by far, dude. By far.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Continuing on kind of like the culture, I know that you played a lot with some of these guys that come up from the G League, for example, Keldon, Derek, DeJounte. So how does it feel to have like a teammate / friend in the Olympics right now with Keldon being in there?
Yeah, we've talked a couple of times on FaceTime and stuff. It's just crazy, bro. Like I think about like bro, it's a fucking gold medal. Like it's not like I know it's like the World Cup or whatever like Derek played in 2 years ago. Like that like that's a big deal too. Like that's still Team USA. Like people like a lot of big time names like show up for that stuff, but like this shit only happens 4 years, like every 4 years, and like you think about how some people don't even get the chance to have a gold medal. Like you think like how hard an NBA championship is, like that some people don't even make that team. And so I know he's extremely thankful too. I mean, he's going to get a lot of off the court. Like he's an Olympian, he's going to hopefully in what do they play like in an hour or so. Yeah. I hope they win gold, and I'm rooting for Patty, but I'm also rooting for there's more guys on the San Antonio side for Team USA that I'm rooting for. So
For sure.
and it's gonna be great for him off the court too, because he's gonna be an Olympian. Like there's gonna be more opportunities for commercials and things of that nature, which is gonna be awesome for him.
Speaking of Patty, he's now going to go join the Nets this offseason as reported. But whenever I interviewed you back in the G League like 2 years ago, you said that Patty Mills was like one of your biggest influences as a teammate. Just recount your time with Patty Mills so far in your career.
Ever since I got there, like when I first like signed with San Antonio, I signed the two-way, and I knew I was coming in, I was thinking like, damn, like I'm playing with DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, LaMarcus Aldridge, like Patty Mills, like these are some big time name guys. Like they're not just your average NBA Joes. Like they're all stars. I mean, Patty wasn't, but like he's still like a predominant like name in the league. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking coming in, I was like, damn, these guys are about to be fucking dicks. Like they're about to be like, they're not even going to pay me the time of the day because I'm just coming in. I'm a two-way player. Oregon State I have no sort of glitz and glam about me. I'm going to be their teammate, but they might not even talk to me in the locker room. And that I couldn't be further from the truth when I got there. Like, and you go down the line from DeMar, Rudy, LA, Patty. These guys all welcomed me in with like open arms, and it was like actually shocking to me because, and it just goes to show you like that Spurs culture, like that's like a real big thing. You guys know, you guys have been following the Spurs. Like they'd much rather have the great locker room guy, the great off the court guy. Maybe he's less talented, less of a risk or something, but they love team guys, and culture is a huge thing with the Spurs. And just going back and forth from Austin to San Antonio, I didn't know, there was a point during my rookie season where I didn't know which way was up because I was traveling so much. And sometimes I'd be with San Antonio, Austin, I remember asking him, bro, I'm like, I'm happy I'm on a two-way and stuff, but, how do I, like, become an NBA player? Like, what's something you can tell me? I know you haven't really seen me play that much, but, like, what's something you could tell me that, like, they would want from me, or they want to see out of me to where I can keep getting better, I keep moving forward. And he was just basically telling me what I'm doing today is if you just set hard screens, roll, rebound, play good defense and just hustle, like you're going to be an NBA player and you're going to find your way on this team. Like, and he was always, the coffee game kind of started to die down a little bit because we had certain guys leave, and then COVID, we weren't able to do some stuff. But my first year, it was as soon as you got off the plane in New City, Patty, Bryn, Dobbs, Belly, and then Patty invited me, go to a coffee spot, go to like a local coffee spot that's really good, and just BS and just hang out and get to know one another. And we did, and then go out to dinner later or whatever. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I was actually shocked when, like, Patty would somehow got my number, would text me, hey, we're going to such and such restaurant. Like, come on, let's go. And, like, I'd be with Bryn and Dobbs and them, and it'd just be like, they really welcomed me into the team and, like, made me feel like I was not just a two-way who didn't have a voice or didn't really belong. Like, they made me feel like I was just as part of the team as they were.
Now, are you planning to continue Coffee Gang?
Yeah, I would continue it. Damn, if we ever could get out and do stuff like this next year, I want to. Shit, who is it? Who would be on the Coffee Gang this year besides me? Trey Jones. He's into it.
Bryn's back too, so
Bryn. Oh yeah, he might be. I might not even be leading it. He might be. Keldon. Yeah, he'll do whatever I say.
Lonnie.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm gonna try. Patty just has that way about him where it's really hard to say no to Patty. Yeah. And so hopefully I can convince everybody and we can get that shit going again. It'll never be the same, but it'll be new. It's new Spurs. New Spurs this next year.
Yeah, y'all gotta restart that Matt Bonner flannel club, man. New era.
Oh yeah,
Flannel Fridays, dude.
Flannel Fridays.
Flannel Fridays.
Oh,
I didn't know Matt Bonner started that, but wear flannels on Fridays. I got in trouble because sometimes I didn't realize what day of the week it was, and I just wear a flannel whenever I felt like it on like Tuesday. And Derek would always yell at me for wearing a flannel. He's like, "It's not even Friday," and I'm like, "Shit, bro! I just wanted to wear it. It was my closet. I don't really try that hard for the pregame picture."
So who would be I guess you could say, who would have the most drip, as the kids say, or like swag out of all the guys? Is it Patty? I mean, because Patty seems like he's the one that.
Yeah, this past year it'd probably be Patty or Rudy.
Oh man, Rudy.
Yeah. If you want to call it drip, he's reaching some with some of the stuff, but I mean he pulls it off better than I probably would. So.
So actually, talking about this last season, what was like? Because I know it was a weird season, but luckily you had some previous seasons as experience. What was one of your favorite moments this past season?
I think a little selfishly for me, my favorite moment was when we went to Phoenix, and we had guys. We had that BS schedule where it was we play once every other day, sometimes back to back. But it got to a point where we needed a rest. Like I think DeMar, DeJounte, Jakob, I think probably Patty too. And we went to Phoenix, and everybody was like, "Okay, these guys, Phoenix is about to just kill these guys." And we flipped the script on them, and we ended up blowing them out at their place, and it was like crazy. And I started, and I had a great game, and that was just really fun. I feel like that game, looking forward to the future, especially now, like in the direction that we're going, it makes me excited because I know, like, those were all young guys that we were playing. Like they were. I think Rudy was playing too, probably, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of like that youth movement or whatever you want to call it that everybody's been dying for. And we were able to play really well and shit. They were up 2 games on Milwaukee in the finals. And, there was another game where when Milwaukee came to our place and we scored like the most points we've ever scored, like fucking ever. In a game, or in a half. and we were down a couple guys there too, and I was able to come in and contribute. So those were probably the best moments for me personally.
And
Sweet.
And
go ahead, Ty.
you don't have to talk about this. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. But you got hit hard with COVID early on this season. I just wanted to see if you wanted to recount that. You don't have to if you don't want to though.
No, I mean it was crazy, bro. Like I feel like the NBA started off like with their rules kind of loose a little bit, and then like with the mask, like we didn't have to wear masks on the bench and stuff. And things like that, but they were still strict in certain areas. But like traveling, like I'm not like an anti-masker or whatever you want to call it. Where I would always just follow the rules and try to like, it sucked, but everybody has to go through it. Like I was a big proponent of having the season in the first place because I didn't want to take a financial hit, and I knew that if we just got through this season, it would, next season now we're back on schedule, so it was going to be tough regardless, but. I followed all the rules. I social distanced. I had my mask on when I was supposed to. Somehow, some way, me and Becky, who honestly I didn't talk to Becky that whole LA trip. There was never a time where Becky and I were face to face where one of us wasn't wearing a mask talking, and somehow we both get COVID. And I just moved into my house too. It was already a long road trip, and so I had to stay in LA for, I think I was there for like 2 weeks total because we were already there for 4 days as it was, and I ended up getting COVID, and it was terrible. But I mean, yeah, it was just crazy. I still to this day don't know how I got it. Everybody doesn't know how I got it. It was in between games when I tested positive. So I think we played the Clippers for the first game, and then the Lakers a day after that or something. And so I didn't play against the Clippers. So me and the young guys and other guys who hadn't played, we went to the arena to play 3-on-3 because that's normally what you do if you don't play or you don't play a lot of minutes. You got to go in the next day and get shots up and like keep your conditioning up and whatever. And so that day in between, I played 3-on-3 against multiple guys who didn't play. Trey, Devin, Trey Lyles, all of them, we're all playing. And, sweating, competing, breathing on each other. And then 4 hours later, when we get back to the hotel at like 7:00 at night, they're like, I get a call from the trainer. It's like, hey, Drew, you need to stay in your room. You tested positive. We're rerunning it again to see if it was a false positive or whatever. And then those guys had to stay in their room too. But they all tested negative. But it's just crazy. Like, I don't know who I got it from in LA or who Becky and I got it from, but it's just crazy. I was like, damn, like if I have it, there's going to be at least 6 or 7 other people on this team who've had it because we're in a small locker room doing this. We're playing against each other. There's no way. But luckily, nobody else tested positive that time. But whoever started it when we were in Charlotte, damn, they took out the whole team. That shit was great.
So to touch on that, I read at least a little bit in the news that Von Miller from the Broncos had it, and he's like a specimen of a human, right? And he had lasting effects for like over a year. He still has them today and has to use an inhaler. If you can say, do you have any lasting effects? Do you notice any from it?
No, the only thing that's still bothering me is nothing breathing wise, thank God, or like my heart or anything. Like all that's good. Like certain things taste like I'd say I lost my taste and smell for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh,
and it came back, but it's like I'd say it's like 95% back, where like certain things just don't taste the same way that they usually do, or like they used to. So I was just in Mexico. I had Sprite, and for whatever reason, Sprite tastes like ground beef. It tastes like meat. It's so weird. And like Pepsi and Coke, they taste like pepper. And
what
like
the heck,
certain
man?
smells, like my dog's breath doesn't already smell that good, but like it smells like dirt to me. And it used to smell like something else, but it smells like if I just grabbed some dirt from outside and sniffed it.
That's strange.
Like, it's just so weird. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like why Sprite tastes like meat. Like I can't even have Sprite because it tastes like fucking ground beef.
That's awful, dude.
But those are the only effects I have. Like I know I didn't know Von Miller was still having problems. I know Jason Tatum, that's always been in the news. He's still struggling with stuff, but it's just crazy. But I'm very fortunate.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you don't have any of the lung or heart things, because I know that was happening. It's crazy to hear like people that are built like that, like Von Miller saying that he had never used an inhaler before, and now it's like, oh, I'm on an inhaler, like a rescue inhaler is always by me. That is just shocking. I mean, I guess you got off kind of easy. It sucks if you love Sprite, but
yeah.
Kind of going away from COVID just a little bit. What do you guys, when you guys are, sometimes you'll have an extended stay at, in a certain city or area. Do you guys do anything to pass the time? Like, do you guys do like fantasy football or fantasy basketball and draft each other, or I know you guys, I know sometimes you'll take your like Xbox or sorry, PlayStation or whatever. So, but do you guys do anything else aside from that? Like,
I used to it's tough because we haven't really been able to do anything these past year and a half or a season and a half. I used to, my first year, I just like to get out and kind of like explore and just like walk around and see what's going on, especially like the East Coast cities, because they're like, just the way they're built is so different than like Oregon and California and stuff. Like it's like everything's just like right on top of each other. It's twists and turns all throughout. So it's pretty cool to see like buildings and stuff like that. This year it was just mainly like I had a suitcase full of clothes and I had a suitcase for my PS5, and that's what I brought with me. So we weren't really allowed to leave, so I didn't leave. So we were mainly just playing like Call of Duty, but yeah, I used to like to get out and walk around. I got on a kick my first year. I really like oysters and like seafood and stuff. I try to find like the best place for like oysters and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I just try to find like Toronto had some really like, they had like it was like an oyster bar with like every single kind of oyster you can imagine. I get like 24 of them. Like, I love oysters. I just eat a whole bunch of them. But that's mainly what I would do when I would just be alone.
All right, since you do live in San Antonio, I gotta ask, what's your go-to taco place?
Tacos.
This is a big endorsement, by the way.
Are you gonna be mad if I say Torchy's?
Oh, dude. I'm gonna have people spam you.
Taco places because Torchy's is just so consistent, and it's just I think it's really good. But I know it's a chain and everything, and I'm probably missing out on some other ones.
I like Torchy's too, bro. Don't worry.
People to spam you to like the taco joints in town.
Yeah.
Mac, what's your recommendation? You gotta give him one.
Oh, dude, if you ever want breakfast tacos, you gotta go to the original donut shop right on like Jackson. That place is amazing, and their donuts obviously are so good.
Okay.
Yeah, Vance Jackson.
It just keeps telling me to go to Bill Miller's for breakfast tacos.
Breakfast tacos at Bill Miller's do slap. They are super good. The potato and egg one, it's awesome, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try both of them out. The donut shop.
Just as long as you're not putting ketchup on them like Matt Bonner was.
Oh my god.
Oh no. I don't mix ketchup and eggs. That's something I don't get into.
Yeah, man, it's been a great time talking to you. I mean, getting the inside perspective for an NBA player and someone that's come up through the G League and especially stayed with the Spurs for a while. I mean, now you're pretty much considered a Spurs vet at this point. Like you know the culture more so than a lot of the players, so which is crazy. I just want to say we really, really appreciate it, and it's been an honor talking to you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me. You guys have been great. Anytime,
man. Yeah, hopefully someday soon we can run some Rebirth or something. I'll show you a thing or two about the Gallo, man. I'm telling you though.
I did see the Gallo's been doing well. I used to do it when it first came out, but then they like nerfed it or something. Mm-hmm. But isn't it like meta right now?
Dude, on Rebirth, like you can ask Mac over here what I've been doing with it, bro. Like 7-8 kill games just with that. Running through prison and stuff, dude. I recommend it.
It's absolutely ratty. Like it's the best type of ratty. You just jump off of a ledge and just absolutely wipe a whole team. It's
Run
amazing.
It with the throwing knife. It's deleted. Like you delete the game from their hard drive for them with it, man.
And I'm over here nailing anything.
I'll start trying it again.
Heck yeah, man, for sure.
All right, again, thank you so much, Drew, for doing this. Is there any words of encouragement that you would like to give the fans going into this next season?
Yeah, man. I mean, just we're going to be ready. We're going to have competitive ass practices in a training camp, and I know that's going to make us better. And we're going to be hungry because the Spurs haven't been young in I don't know, like 2 decades or so. So we're excited. I can't wait till Keldon gets back. The guys get down to the summer league, and we start opening gyms up in I think like September or something. And we have it, and everybody's back, and it's going to be fun. I'm telling you, it's going to be different, but it'll be good, different but good.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
We're excited, man. We're excited.
So that does it for this episode of At the Line. A big thanks to Drew Eubanks for giving us his time and just having a great time with him in this interview. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at @TheLinePod on Twitter. You can follow me at @TheTyYager. You can follow Mac at Mac Pena. You can follow Nick at Nick Yarbrough. So NICYARBRO. And make sure to check out At The Line and everywhere else we do it. We are streaming all the time on YouTube and Twitch, so go follow us there. But for Ty, for Mac, Nick, and Drew, this has been At The Line. We'll see you guys next time.